Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, my name's Yasmin. This is my newest baby, Millie. She's 3 months old. She's eating right now. If you guys are not new here, I feel like whenever big things happen in my life, I tend to distance myself from social media more. And I feel like I've been very just distant in general because there's been so many changes and different things happening in my life. You know, Millie's only 3 months old, so I had her 3 months ago, and it's felt like kind of one thing after the other in my life since then. I feel like I've just been kind of inconsistent on social media because I've been going through having Millie and adjusting to having 3 and then postpartum and other things going on. And then recently something else has happened that's made me distance even more, and it's something that's significant and one of those things in my life that I'm not just gonna go without talking about here because it's been a pretty big part of my life for the last few weeks and will be from probably, obviously forever, but this part of it, at least for a while, this is gonna make sense once you guys hear this story. So yeah, I've been trying to figure out how I wanted to address this and talk about it on my YouTube channel and just on social media. I feel like when something significant like this that involves a whole story happens, I have to talk about it in a YouTube video versus just a little Instagram post. So yeah, first of all, I'm in a parking lot right now. I'm at the beach because I just kind of wanted to get out of the house to do this, and I figured just being at the beach would be the best place mentally for me to do this. Let's give a little bit of backstory before I get into this. If you guys have followed me for a while, you guys know the whole story of my childhood and everything, and my relationship with my parents, and my just living situation growing up, how I moved out when I was 16 and why, and just everything before that. I recently posted a video, not recently, but right before I had Millie, explaining literally my whole life story, because I've talked about little bits and pieces here and there but never actually put it all together in one video. So if you guys are new here, it might help to go watch that because it might make some of this make more sense. So maybe go watch that video and then come back to this. But basically, long story short, growing up, I only really had I never really knew my dad. I just had my mom around. My mom has struggled with substance abuse problems for a long time. Also, before we get into this, everything that I say in this video is the truth to the best of my knowledge. I'm not trying to falsely accuse anyone of anything. This is just the truth to the best of my knowledge from what I've witnessed and experienced, and yeah. Since I started my YouTube channel 3 years ago now, you guys have been there through some of those things that I've talked about, some of the things that have happened because of my mom's substance abuse problems. You know, somebody that she was with overdosed, and so yeah. So I'm not gonna get too into the details about all of that. I'm gonna just try to start from present time. So if you guys need to catch up, go back to those videos. But she struggled with this stuff for a while. When I was pregnant, I found out literally right the day before Millie was born, my sister called me and told me that my mom was pregnant. Again, I posted on here about how I have a little brother now and that my mom was having a baby and all of this stuff, and I didn't really want to get into the details of that until after he was born and we knew it was going to happen, because I knew that it wasn't just going to be a normal new baby in the family situation. So basically, I found out the day before Millie was born that I was going to be having a new sibling. And I have 2 little sisters. We all have different dads. None of our dads are in our lives. And we kind of have been raised by my grandmother. My grandmother has custody of my other sisters, but they still live with my mom. She lives there with them, but my grandma is basically their sole caregiver. She's just kind of there, and she has this other boyfriend that she got pregnant with. So when I found that out, just based on what I had known about, what was still going on with my mom, made me very shocked to find out that she was pregnant. She is older, or not older, but she's gonna be 40 this year, so it's pretty old to get pregnant. None of us thought that would have happened, and just given the state of her health, we were very shocked. But when she told us that she was pregnant, she was already 30 weeks pregnant, and we already knew that we had reason to believe that she had never stopped doing the things that she did. Literally the next day after my sister told me this, she'd actually a few weeks before called me and been I think mom might be pregnant, she looks pregnant, and I was oh my god, okay. like, that's crazy, like, no way, no way. And then, you know, like, a few weeks later, she confirmed it, and, like, my mom had confirmed it and told her. Literally the next day I went into labor, and I swear to God, I think I was shocked into, like, going into labor. Not actually, coincidence. But anyway, so I was like, wow, this is crazy. I hadn't spoken to my mom since, like, way earlier, like, that year, which was, like, last year, because I was, like, angry at the things that she was doing, and felt like even talking to her normally was, like, enabling her, because I was, like, just, like, having normal conversations with her, pretending nothing was wrong, I felt like was just, like, being fake and enabling, and yeah. But anyway, so once I found out she was pregnant, I knew she was going to be due around my birthday, which was this early February, and I was very excited to find out I was going to have a baby brother, and I knew, like, from the beginning that I was going to love him like I love my little sisters. Like, I knew that it would be no different. My sisters are both my half-sisters, and, like, I just knew that because of the state my mom was in and her inability to take care of my sisters now, that I was going to have to step in some way. When I was 16, I left my home and moved in with my aunt, and that same aunt moved to Hawaii, so I'm, like, very close with her. She's, like, more of, like, a mom to me. You know, I had been talking to her about this whole situation leading up to it and what we were gonna do, and we always say, like, it feels like we're watching, like, a train wreck and, like, can't do anything about it. So we decided, like, we were gonna do everything that we can to help this baby and, like, make sure that he doesn't go through. I have gone through, and my sisters have gone through, growing up with my mom and her struggles with addiction and just, like, the whole toxic household that is. It was really hard even imagining what I would even be able to do to help the situation, because I have a baby of my own. They're only 2 months apart, but I knew that I had to do something. So basically, January 17th, this baby was born, and, you know, leading up to it the whole time, I was anticipating, like, when is he gonna come? When is he gonna come? Like, I'm gonna have to, like, zoom there the second that he's born. Shortly before that, I had kind of started to rekindle my relationship with my mom, and, like, just, like, I just started being friendly with her again, because I wanted her to, you know, I wanted to be able to, like, be around to, like, step in for the baby without, you know, like, me and my mom not getting along. So I just kind of was like, there's no point in me being, like, trying to fix her. I might as well just do what I can to help with this baby once he's actually here, because, like, I knew that there was nothing that I could do before that. You can't force somebody to get clean. He was born a substance-exposed newborn, and the hospital routinely tests babies for drugs in their system. And, of course, he tested positive, and he ended up being in the NICU for 2 weeks before he was able to come home, and he's had complications. Luckily, he is safe and he's healthy now, but, you know, there are complications that are probably going to be long-lasting because of what my mom did while she was pregnant. My mom obviously had to leave the hospital, and he was staying in the NICU, and, you know, she would kind of be there on and off. I would see pictures of her there with him, and it's just, like, heartbreaking seeing her, like, in the state that she's in, especially with my little brother, this tiny baby. I found out that he's coming home, and I immediately left to just go visit, and, you know, in my mind I was just going to go visit and meet him, and I knew what I was about to walk into, but I also didn't really know, because I hadn't really seen my mom, and I just didn't really know what to expect. But I knew that it was gonna probably be a mess in some way. I just drove by myself with Millie to go and see her, because I don't bring my kids around her anymore. And obviously I have to have Millie with me, so I was, like, willing to bring her with just to see my brother. But I was, like, really stalling when I got there, and I went to go see my neighbors for a while before I actually went in, because I was just afraid. And I went in, and of course, you know, it was clear the state that she was in, you know, you could tell. And that night she left me with the baby. This was just his first night home, and I took care of him the entire night, overnight. I was afraid to leave. Once she handed him over to me, I was literally afraid to walk out of the house, because, you know, my grandmother lives there. She is 77. She takes care of my 2 younger sisters, brings them to school, still works full time, and there was no way in heck that she was going to be taking care of a newborn baby, especially a substance-exposed newborn, medically fragile newborn baby that's formula fed. Like, there was no way. And, you know, she would do literally anything for her grandkids, and she always has. But this was something that, like, we could not just let her do alone. I was planning to leave, and I kept getting ready to go, and I was like, okay, like, it's getting late, like, I should probably go now, and I just kept stalling, and my mom would, you know, be, like, holding the baby and just nodding off, nearly dropping him, could barely, like, put his clothes on him, and, like, it was really sad. And my grandma really didn't want me to leave, and I could tell, so I told Logan, I was like, I know that he isn't comfortable with, like, me, or even, like, especially not our kids staying there, but I was like, I can't leave. So he was like, just stay, if, like, that's what you have to do. So I stayed, watched my mom for minutes at a time just start passing out, and I just, like, I did not take my eye off that baby. And it was like 11 p.m. that I last saw her. She, like, fed him his bottle, and I was sitting right there just, like, watching, and I, like, to her, I'm just, like, pretending, I'm like, oh, like, pretending that everything's normal, you know, because there's no point in stirring things up with somebody in that state, especially that's been in that state of mind for so long. I watch her feed him his last bottle. It was 11. She starts nodding off. I take the baby. I go downstairs. I wait until she, like, even notices that he's gone, and then eventually she comes down and notices, says she's gonna go just get some stuff done down in the basement where she lives, and then I don't see her again until 6:30 in the morning. So she handed him off to me and disappeared for 7.5 hours. And I spent the entire night with him and with Millie, and I just took care of them all night long. I literally just pulled an all-nighter because I was like, I am not probably going to be getting any sleep anyways. He has to eat every 2 to 3 hours. Millie's going to be waking up in between, so I just stayed up the entire night. And I was, like, in shock, like, trauma shock, like, from seeing my mom like that, and I had been avoiding ever even seeing her for so long because, like, I can't, like, keep seeing her like that all the time. I, like, can't keep putting myself through that over and over and over again. It's like, it's literally like a never-ending nightmare that I always put myself back into because I feel responsible for helping her, and every time I try, I drag her to rehab, or I, like, try to have a conversation with her about it, and it's, like, just over and over and over again. So this time I, like, had to make the exception for my baby brother, but it's just, I can't keep seeing it. I was so, like, in shock, and, like, have still been in shock and, like, traumatized from that. Yeah, are you too, Millie? Are you sad too? So I took care of him all night, and my grandma would come and check on us and whatever too, so I just, like, I felt so bad. She was waking up every couple of hours. She had a timer to wake up every couple of hours to check on us, and I'm like, she should not have to be doing this. So the next morning I was like, just let me take him home, like, please just let me bring him home. And I have a family that I have to go be with, and I have things that I have to do and a life to get back to. Like, I can't just stay here and, like, be the nanny and pretend that nothing's going on. But I also, it breaks my heart to leave him. Basically what had happened is when the hospital, I'm not sure exactly what the protocol is for all states or whatever, but, you know, when they have a substance exposed newborn, usually they have to get child protective services involved, so they were involved, and basically my grandmother had to, like, sign in order for him to even be released to my mom and, like, come home with them. My grandma basically had to give permission, saying that she would, like, be responsible and that my mom was not allowed to be alone with him in order for him to even be released back to the house. So my grandma had basically just as much of, like, a legal say over what happened with him as my mom did, and my mom wasn't even allowed to, like, be alone with him. My grandma was like, no, like, you can't take him home, like, I'm not allowed to, like, you're not allowed to just take him. I tried to get my mom to give me permission. I offered to, like, you know, just help her for a little bit so she could, you know, get some rest, because, you know, like, that's how I wanted to try to approach it with her, because it's not like I can be like, hey, like, you're messed up, give me the baby. Like, she's not gonna take that and be like, oh yeah, you're right here. Like, she's gonna see that as me, like, attacking her now for, like, her problems that she completely denies and tries to hide still. Then, like, you know, all of a sudden become defensive and not trust me anymore, and, like, I don't know. It's all risky. So I begged to bring him home, and my grandma was like, no, it's just not gonna happen. And I was like, okay, well, like, I have to go back home. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I can't just stay here. And I drove back home. I literally was crying my eyes out the entire drive home because I was so afraid of what would happen. It would, like, all it takes is 1 minute of 1 second of her holding him and nodding off and nobody watching her for something terrible to happen to him. He's a newborn baby. As a mom, it just literally destroys me. Like, I got home and I literally ended up driving all the way back that night because my grandmother, you know, was like asking for me to come and help. But by the time that I got there, basically my family started getting involved in this whole situation and what to do to get him safe. And so my family was coming out to come help him, and you know, my grandma agreed to like be on our side of like the fight to try and help him be in a better home, I guess you could say, against my mom. But because it's always been hard for her, you know, to like do anything to upset her, because, you know, addicts are very manipulative and will literally do like turn on anyone to like support their addiction, if that makes sense. They will literally treat people that they love terribly just to carry on like the lie that they're not an addict and to like defend themselves. And so my family was coming out, and I think my mom had kind of like heard or figured that out somehow, I guess, like maybe from my grandma, or like just like overheard a conversation that like, you know, my family was coming out to, you know, take care of this whole situation. And I guess at that point she kind of started thinking like, oh, that she has to prove herself and not like be so obvious about it in front of people like she had been with me. I come back the second night to help with him again, and then the third night, I think at that point my family had arrived to come and help him, and for the next few days after that, my grandma would take him out during the day, completely like out of the house, and bring him to come stay like with my relatives. Basically, end of the story is that my grandma finally, you know, was bringing him back and forth and, you know, like monitoring him overnight, but it like she knew that it was just too much for her, so finally she got the social workers that are involved in the case to sign that he can like be with my other relatives. So he is luckily safely staying with my other relatives, and it has been like a few weeks now. I'm so glad that my aunt was able to come out to take care of him, because I would not be able to like sleep at night knowing that he was, you know, just like in the house with my mom. What ended up happening is I did end up having to testify against my mom in court the other day, which was intense and frustrating. It's going to be an ongoing process to get things like finalized with, you know, a whole custody agreement, and we have meetings with social workers, and I'm involved in all of this because I'm a witness and I am trying to fight for his life. Like, I want to be as much help as I can in bringing him to safety to live with my aunt, because I just like had been talking about all of this to Logan, and I was like, I know we have like so much going on. This is so much for us to handle, like adding this into the mix of our lives when we already have 3 kids and our own things going on. But like, if I can just take like a few weeks or a few months out of my life to like add this in as a priority, then it could change his next whole 18 years of his life, or, you know, his entire life. So yeah, so that's what's been going on. I've been like going back and forth all the time to go be there and like for like these court hearings and such, which we have like more things coming up, like meetings and all of that. It's been intense. I have been really happy to like be able to be around like my family more. That's been like really nice. Obviously it's like under bad circumstances, but like, yeah, I just really wanted to talk about this because it's obviously been a big, significant part of my life for the last couple of weeks, and it has been really hard on me, and obviously it's a lot of emotion. It makes me sad, it makes me angry, it makes me nervous to like be testifying, and like all these like legal things are like intense. I was like freaking out the whole day before I went to court to testify against my mom. It was like a serious like hearing, and I've never done something like that. Anyways, just send good vibes and prayers our way for this baby. I don't know what I can really be sharing when it comes to like court cases and such. But that's basically everything. I can't wait to, you know, like tell my little brother in the future, like, you know, obviously hoping everything like turns out how we want it to with like the whole custody agreement. I can't wait to like get to visit him and get to see him grow up and like have a happy life, and tell him how much of a ruckus he caused when he was just a little baby, because everyone just wanted him to be safe and we all just loved him so much. I don't know, it's just hard because obviously like with all this going on, like how do you tell a baby that, or a kid, you know, like that they have like health problems because their mom doing drugs and like she was pregnant? Like, how do you tell a little kid that? I didn't understand my mom's problems until I was like middle school age. Like and even then, like that's just when I started like knowing about them. I don't know how that is gonna be dealt with as he gets older, but he does just also have other health issues, and yeah, so I just love him so much. And him and Millie are like so cute next to each other. They were just like, every time that I'm like taking care of both of them at the same time, they just like snuggle up and are just like so cute. I've been really like not dreading, but like anticipating doing this whole story, because I knew it was going to be hard for me to talk about, because I've been trying to like push the whole situation to the side whenever I'm not there, and like just try not to think about it, but it's like impossible to not think about it when it's like my life is revolving around this right now. And I also have like all these plans to go out of town coming up, and it's been so hard to like, I want to be able to enjoy those things too and not, you know, be like only thinking about all of this. But like I said, it's hard. And you know, as far as my sisters go, like you guys have also seen that they like have sometimes stayed with me and sometimes just stayed with other relatives and kind of been bounced around because of my mom's problems. So there's a lot of change that's going to be happening coming up, because they haven't even been staying at home. They've been with my grandma, staying with relatives because of everything, and like we're trying to really like take this whole thing seriously and put a final end to it, because it's been too long that my mom's problems have caused everyone in our family pain. And you know, she keeps finding her way back. Like for a while she wasn't even there, and she keeps finding her way back, and I just watch her manipulate and emotionally abuse my grandmother, and just, I'm not even gonna get into all of that. But so this is why I ran away to Hawaii a year and a half ago, because I think that I can run away from my problems that shouldn't be my problems anymore. I'm just trying to like move on and have, you know, a happy like life for myself, and we want the best for like everyone in our family, because like I love my sisters and my grandma, and I love my mom, and I want things to work out. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope it kind of like cleared up the whole situation for you guys, and seriously, my heart goes out to like anyone else who's dealing with addiction in their family, and just like especially like broken parent relationships because of addiction. And because I always get so many comments and DMs from you guys like saying you've gone through similar things, and it always like makes me feel so much better knowing that other people have similar family situations. Yeah, because like growing up I always felt so ashamed because of it, and now I've learned to like disconnect myself from it and not feel like ashamed, and just, you know, it's like it's not my fault. It's unfortunate that it is what it is. But yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm going to go now and get myself together. Look at this view that I've been seeing while I film this. Just have to show you guys, it's beautiful out here today. This is why I wanted to come here to film this, because I knew I was going to be all emotional, and I might as well be in a beautiful little parking spot. Also, while we're here, thank you guys for almost 100,000 streams on my song. That was a very good like positive amongst this whole like this time period with all this going on. Bye guys, we'll see you in the next video.